on. Oh.
Um, Hi everybody, I am Tira, the Turtle Fairy, and I'm going to show you some facts about turtles.
And we have this really cool book here, The Reptiles and Amphibians of Michigan Field Guide by Stan Tiakala. He also has some with butterflies, wildflowers, birds, all sorts of different things, and it's a great little guide. So our turtle fairy is going to share with us some of the most common turtles in Michigan.
So their habitat is lakes, ponds, rivers,
Well,
creeks.
first, what is the turtle?
This is the painted turtle, and their habitat is lakes, ponds, rivers, creeks, and permanent water sources. And it likes to be underwater in lakes or large ponds. And it eats insects, fish, crayfish, snails, tadpoles, plants, and look for red markings on Listen to find the painted turtle.
Very cool. So that's one we do happen to see quite a few of the painted turtles, don't we? Yeah, those we spot all the time. And what's the other common one?
The other common one is the snapping turtle. Its habitat is lakes, ponds, rivers, creeks, and permanent water sources. And it's underwater and burrows into mud. And it eats insects, current, fish, frogs, crayfish, snails, salamanders, and plants.
Very cool. So those are the two most common ones in Michigan. And you know what else we learned? Are there any tortoises in Michigan?
No, they walk on their toes like ballerinas.
They do, but actually there are no tortoises in Michigan. We only have turtle species in Michigan. And that was one of the big differences, wasn't it? With the turtles. Now today we actually have a paper here about sea turtles, which is fun. So here's our sea water swimmers. And look at this little one's just hatched. I'm going to turn this light off because there we go. It's shining on it funny. All right, sea turtles travel the seas. They spend most of their lives exploring the ocean. A female comes to the shore for just one reason. And what is that one reason? Why do they come to the shore?
Because they're trying to get to the water.
They leave the water. Because sea turtles spend their whole lives in the water, but they leave the water for one very important reason, and that's to lay their eggs. So back to the beach. Sea turtles do something amazing. After more than 20 years at sea, the females come to land. It returns to the beach where it was born. So can you read to us about how they dig their hole?
Sea turtles digs a hole. It has a hard time moving across the sand when it uses its flippers to dig. The hole will be its nest.
Yep, so it makes a nice hole in the ground, and that creates the nest. And we learned that actually the temperature of the sand determines whether they're male or female turtles, which was quite interesting.
It lays its eggs in a nest. There are about 100 eggs. They feel like rubber balls. The mother covers her nest with sand and keeps the eggs safe from predators. Babies race to the sea. Tiny turtles are born. They climb out of the hole. These are hatchlings.
Oh, and look how cute they are too.
Water.
And we learned of why there are so many. Why are there so many hatchlings at one time?
Because they lay like 100 eggs.
Right, but why do they lay 100 eggs? What happens to these little sea turtles as they try to get back to the water?
They get eaten.
A lot of them end up getting eaten. So that way, when there's so many of them, at least some of them will make it back to the water, right? Look here's the mama sea turtle. Can you tell us about this guy?
Sea turtles swim and swim. They settle into life at sea. A tiny turtle grows. Its shell gets hard. It gets legs that get strong. It becomes one of the biggest animals in the ocean. Sea turtles stay near coral reefs in the winter. There are many plants to eat in the warm water.
That's right. And we learned too but there's 7 kinds of sea turtles, and how big do the biggest ones get? Do you remember?
The biggest ones get 7 feet.
7 to 8 feet long.
Why
That's
there's
huge.
7 types of turtles is because each type of species of turtles gets, sea turtles gets bigger every foot. So the first one is 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, and then 7 feet.
And we also learned that the different species eat different things. So one sea turtle might be a carnivore and only eat meat. Another sea turtle might be the omnivore and eat meat and vegetation. And another sea turtle may only eat plants and is a herbivore, right? So we learned that sea turtles really vary. Oh, and Muriel and Madeline are watching. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi, girls. Thanks for joining us. We are here with our turtle fairy. She helps save those sea turtles to get them to the shore, right? Back to the water, because they have a scary life there. Sea turtles and certain fish have a special relationship. Algae are tiny plants and plant-like beings. They can cling to a sea turtle shell. The fish eat the algae, and the turtle gets a clean shell. So we've learned about quite a few different creatures that really help each other out. The fish survive on that algae.
Clownfish and the anemone.
They are. They have a special relationship where they do really help each other, don't they? So here on the back, we have the difference between a turtle and a sea turtle. Now, we've talked a little bit about the tortoise, and that the tortoise walks differently. Like, you can really tell a tortoise and a turtle by their feet and how they walk. But tortoises do tend to be on land, and the turtles are in the water. And do we have tortoises in Michigan?
No.
No. All of those reptiles that look like turtles in Michigan are just that, turtles. Do we have sea turtles?
Yes.
No, we don't have an ocean
Ooh,
here.
look at that.
Oh yeah, look. I was just going to show that we had a really cool dragonfly just laying on our screen. But I guess he's gone now.
Dragonflies. We have a huge dragonfly in the laundry room.
Oh yeah, I should have you go grab that in a little bit. Why don't you go grab that while I talk about the difference here. So let's see. Here's the difference. Oh, here's our think big. Sea turtles do not have teeth. So how do you think they eat? So Muriel and Madeline, I'm going to let you think about that one. How do you think those turtles eat if they don't have teeth? Imagine, could we eat if we didn't have teeth?
Maybe not that well.
No, and only like applesauce. Well, this was a cool dragonfly that he was kind of on the end of his life yesterday. We found him on our bike ride. And he was kind of at the...
Hold him by that.
I know, I'm just holding him up so he can see a little better. So he was kind of at the end of his life. Oh, here, actually, you can see him really good here. And so we thought, well, we'll take him home because he was such a beautiful creature. You can't quite see how bright green he is on the camera. Oh, you can a little bit here. But he's just this beautiful emerald green color. And just a really cool head.
Let go. Mommy, you're breathing.
Honey, it's dead, sweetie. But yeah, that was such a cool little dragonfly that we discovered. But yeah, he's not alive anymore. But he was kind of on his about to die yesterday. So Alexis, do you know, how do turtles eat? I'm sorry, not Alexis. The turtle fairy. How will the sea turtles eat if they don't have
You
teeth?
just swallow it whole.
So Muriel thinks they just swallow their food. That's a good guess, and that's actually just what our turtle fairy said too, is that swallowing their food whole. Well, what they have is they have like a beak, just like a bird would have. And that beak is so sharp that it kind of bites it down. And they do pretty much just swallow their food whole. They may take like smaller bites, but yeah, they pretty much just swallow it whole. They don't chew like we have those back chewing teeth. So let's see some of the differences here. So our turtle does not hear well.
Good.
And that way you can probably catch them a little quicker, right? But it can pull its head into its shell. It has a very hard shell, and that's its protection. It has claws for walking on land. Let's look at our sea turtle here. So the sea turtle cannot pull its head into its shell. And it has very good hearing. It also has a hard shell, but it has the legs like flippers for swimming. Now, they both actually need to breathe oxygen, and they both live in water, but the sea turtle is in salt water and the other turtle's in fresh water, right? So this has us kind of putting an X on some different things. We're actually going to do something a little different. We're going to make a circle graph about the similarities and differences, and then we're going to draw. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to draw turtles, because turtles have always been one of my favorite little creatures. They're so cute. So we are going to use some markers. You can use pens, pencils, markers, whatever you'd like to use. And we're going to start our graph. So I don't know if any of you have done a circle graph that has similarities and differences, but these are kind of fun to make. I'm going to use green because I feel like that's a good turtle color. So you actually want to draw one. You're actually drawing two circles that are overlapping is basically what you're drawing. So we've got one circle here, so I'll lift it up a little bit. And then you can use the same color or you can use a different color. I'd actually like to use a different color. So I'm gonna use this. This green is gonna represent my turtle. So I'm gonna write turtle up here, which is T-U-R-T-L-E, turtle. And then I'm gonna do more of a sea green color to represent our sea turtles. So I probably should have made my circle a little bit bigger, but we'll make that work. So then you kind of want to overlap it here. So you can kind of see there, we've got the one circle representing our turtles, the other circle that represents our sea turtles. So over here, I'm just gonna write sea, S-E-A, and then turtles. And we're gonna think about what are some of the things that you all remember that were either, let's start with the similarities. We'll put the similarities right down the middle. So can anybody think of a similarity between the turtles and the sea turtles? What do you think, Alexis? I'm sorry, Turtle Fairy. What are some of the similarities between the turtles that live in the pond?
They both have a hard shell and they both live in water.
Good, so we're gonna put that right here in the middle, that they have a hard shell. So they both have a hard shell. And they both live in water. You want to use the green? Now let's think of what were some of the differences between the turtle and the sea turtle. There are actually quite a few, believe it or not. So let's look again at this, the turtle and the sea turtle. So Madeline and Muriel, can you girls notice any differences between the two? What's the first thing that really stands out between the turtles and the sea turtles? What looks different to you? And Alexis, or Turtle Fairy, what is your first thing that you think of for a difference?
Well,
just name one.
Turtles have claws and the sea turtles have fins.
Yep, they have like flippers, like fins. So yeah, so that's one of the huge differences is that the turtle has claws for walking on the land, and the sea turtle has the flippers for swimming. So we're gonna mark that, and this time I'm actually gonna use the different colors for the turtle and the sea turtle. So the turtle we're just gonna write claws. So the sea turtle has claws. And then we go over to, I'm sorry, not the sea turtle. The regular turtle has claws. And the sea turtle has flippers. So that's one of the huge differences we see. Oh, but guess what? Muriel noticed that the pattern on the shells is very different, and that's true. And that's actually a good point to bring up, Muriel, is that the pond turtle, we'll call them pond turtles versus sea turtles. So the pond turtles actually, they'll continue to grow their shell as they get older, and it'll have like actually a special pattern on it, almost like rings on the shell, like a tree would have, and you can tell how old it is. But sometimes the turtles get so old you can't even tell anymore how many rings are on it. Whereas the sea turtle, as the shell grows, it doesn't leave those lines. It doesn't quite grow like the pond turtle. The shell will grow underneath it for the new shell, and the sea turtle just kind of It just grows in a different way. So it's interesting that, yeah, even though they're both turtles, yeah, their shells, the pattern is different, and how they grow their shells is very different. So that's another very interesting thing. Another thing we have here is that, yeah, the pond turtle does not hear well, whereas the sea turtle, it does hear very well, has good hearing. So we'll put that, we'll shorten that to, well, I guess we'll just put doesn't hear well. So doesn't hear well for our pond turtles. Whereas the sea turtle has very good hearing. So we'll just put good hearing to fit it in a little bit better. Good hearing. And there's one other main difference too, because we always think of, oh, those turtles and how they can pull their shells in, or pull their head and their feet into their bodies. But actually the sea turtle, he can't pull its head into its shell. Whereas the pond turtle can pull its head into the shell. So we can shorten that by saying maybe pulls head. So the pond turtle can pull his head or pulls head. And our sea turtle can't retract his head, so doesn't pull head. So it's kind of fun to see when you can see it kind of here how different. Oh, and also the other thing is the turtle lives in or the pond turtle is more of a freshwater, the sea turtle is saltwater. So yeah, there's a lot of fun differences and similarities to the turtles. But they are all reptiles. That's another thing. Let's add that in our middle one here. They both have a hard shell, they both live in water, and they are both reptiles, which is R-E-P-T-I-L-E, both reptiles. All right, now we're going to show you a few ways to draw different turtles. So I've been enjoying drawing turtles for a long time. I think they're so cute and they're fun and easy to draw. So I'm going to show you there's all sorts of different ways you can draw them. So I'm going to show you some different fun ways. So I'm going to start with this color, like a darker green, and you can have your turtles be any color you want. But we're going to start with a overhead view of the turtle. So this is like if you were standing up and you were looking straight down on the ground and there was the turtle. So of course you start off with the turtle shell, which is kind of an oval, like a little bit of an egg shape. I think we can turn the light back on for now. There's not a glare over on here like there was before. And if you want to make this turtle, we're going to make it one of the pond turtles. So I usually just do like little C's around for their little legs, little C's, and it's a little cute little tail, like a little triangle turn tail. And I like to give it a couple little claws because that is one of the big distinguishing factors, is it has claws. And then the head's kind of like a U that kind of turns in a little bit. And then if you want, you can give your cute little turtle some eyes. And then of course you can decorate its shell too. So the shells come, as Muriel noticed, have a lot of different patterns. So they can kind of have, like if we did one with like the 6, kind of starting with the 6 across and kind of drawing out as you go. And then you can keep drawing. It's almost like a spider web a little bit, where you keep going and then you kind of just keep connecting it till you get to the end. And that's how the turtle's shell will grow too, as it gets older and older. It keeps connecting. So that's a fun way to draw a turtle. Now if you want to make that a sea turtle, like an overhead looking sea turtle, we're going to move over here. So you're going to start with a circle, or oval I should say, like an egg-shaped oval.
I actually kind of drew a sea turtle like on my line right there.
Oh yeah, that's a nice one. Very nice. So here we have our sea turtle, and it's got, of course, his little same shaped head, but then now the flippers are what's really different. You kind of go out. It's almost like a little bit of an L shape. Go out, and then same thing with the back ones. They're just a little bit smaller, those back flippers. And then the interesting thing about the sea turtles is you can tell they're male or female by, a female will have a shorter tail, whereas the male will have a longer tail. So I'm going to make mine female, give her a little shorter tail, give her a little eyes. And I won't worry about doing her pattern, so we can show you the side view of the turtles too. So this is there. I'll show you a couple ways to make side view turtles. So instead of starting with the egg-shaped oval, we actually do a half circle, almost like a rainbow, upside down curve, and then just straight across. And we kind of go out a little bit with our cute little turtle. I like to give my turtle a smile in its eyeball. And if you want to make it a little girl turtle, look, you can give her some eyelashes. And this turtle, I'm going to show you a couple different ways to make the turtle feet. So this one looks a little bit like actually elephant. But they turn out cute. And then those represent the claws. Even though they're not really claws, that just kind of represent. And then there's this cute little turtle tail. And again, you can make the same design where you kind of start with a box of 6. That's kind of a good way to start. And then you kind of go out from those 6. And it looks a little bit like a spider web as you go out. And then if you want to color it later too, it's kind of fun because you can color each little square a different color. Like the painted turtles are a lot more colorful. And then some turtles, all they are is green and brown. So that's how you'd make the little turtle shell. And I'll show you actually another way to do the turtle shell too. So that's one way to do the sideways turtle. Now we'll show you another way, but they all start off the same. They all start off with the half circle and the line at the bottom, or you could call it a rainbow. And the heads are pretty similar. That one we can kind of make a little bit more of the U shape. Same little turtle tail. Now this one we're going to give it more like maybe what a claw, like an alligator claw would look like. So we kind of do 3 little jaggeds, and those can also represent the turtle claws.
What I do sometimes is I kind of make that for its fins.
Yep, so if you do a sea turtle, yep, you would do the fins. And look, then she's got the pond turtle too. Very nice. So that's another way to make the claws. And another way you can make the turtle shell is it's fun kind of to do polka dots and do spots. And there is a spotted turtle here in Michigan, and it has little spots. But that's another fun way.
Shell thing. I think that's a separate turtle, a soft shell turtle.
Yep, there's like one with like it has like a spiny nose. That's a soft shell. And we'll give this one also a little smile. And this one, we're not only going to give her eyelashes, we're also going to give her a bow. She's going to be dressed and ready to go. There, she is dressed up. And if you really want to get fancy, look, you can even give your
high heels.
Well, you can give your little turtle's nail polish.
Her toenails.
Yep, see, and look, she can paint her toenails too. So it's kind of fun sometimes to decorate them however you want. Yeah, her little elephant toenails. All right, there's one more way. Yeah, you can give her a bow. You want to draw a bow on her while I draw the last kind of way to draw a turtle? There.
Do I have a black center?
That's cute. Now, there are other animals in the reptile family, too. So, under Madeline and Muriel, do you have a favorite reptile? I wonder if they have what's your favorite reptile? Turtle fairy?
Turtles.
Yeah, I figured you'd say turtles. I know Alexis also likes snakes, too. She really likes reptiles. So now we're going to show you one more way to make our cute little... Well, actually, 2 more ways. I've got one more of the pond turtle way, and then one more to show you how to do the sea turtle to the side. So this one, again, you start off with your half circle. And this one has a little bit of a higher shell. You see how this one's a little flatter and stuff? And I did this one a little more narrow. So give it this cute little head, cute little tail. And then this one, all you're doing is doing 2 U's again for the legs. Or you can give it claws. This one we'll have this one be a boy. And this is another way you can make the turtle shell, is by making diagonal lines across and back again. So there's another way to make, dinosaurs. Yep, dinosaurs are reptiles. So, yeah, so dinosaurs are their favorites.
Too bad they don't exist.
Well, not anymore, but they did at one time. So, yeah, the dinosaurs are really cool reptiles.
How did they get extinct? That's my question. Did
people
eat them or something?
No one really knows exactly for sure. There's a lot of theories out there. All right, now I'm going to show you how to do a sea turtle on the side here. The sea turtle on the side is probably the hardest one to do, at least for me it is. So again, you start with its shell, which is like a half circle with a line.
The easiest for me too.
Is it the easiest? See, for me, the sea turtles are a little harder to do. So we're going to give, and then here I'm going to actually draw a beak on the sea turtle so you can kind of see. That's how it eats, because it has like a sharper beak here. So this would be a girl too. The girl sea turtle. Okay, now the sea turtle's legs. This is the trickier one. So you kind of go out and wrap it around. Then you do the same thing, just a little bit smaller on the edge. And Alexis is going to give our sweet little sea turtle a bow. And then her shell we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to give it some little angles here like this. And we're going to kind of just build her shell like that while Alexis decorates her bow. And then here we have our adorable, and then this one here, I'm actually going to give her a little design at the bottom. I'm going to give her little hearts in between. So there's a lot of different ways you can, there's a lot of different ways you can make your turtle and decorate your turtle and color your turtle. And I love to see your turtles when you're all done making them. We'll post some of ours online so we can share all of yours. We'll share some of Alexis's, but there are so many fun ways to make turtles and to draw them and color them, and they really are just cute, sweet creatures. Well, thank you for joining us, Turtle Fairy. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see your pictures in a little bit of your turtles too.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.